We're going to talk to Utah State Spencer Petras, 6'5", 231 pounds. He's the Aggie quarterback. Came through the portal from Iowa, where he threw for like 5,200 yards. How do you determine, well, first of all, that you're going to go into the portal, and then the process in the case of ending up at Utah State? Can you describe that a little bit for us?
Yeah. I suffered a pretty serious injury at the end of my 5th year at Iowa. Senior day, I tore my labrum in my rotator cuff in my throwing shoulder. And so at that time, my time at Iowa and their time with me was over, because that was going to be a year recovery, and it was time to move on for both of us. So I knew once I recovered, and if I knew I could play again, that it would be somewhere else. And so, I rehabbed all of 2023, and then in early November got in the portal and pretty quickly identified Utah State as a school that fit what I wanted from the next stop. And that's, an offensive system that I am excited about and that I was interested in. A lot of really good skill position players like we have, and just the opportunity to compete for the starting job. And Utah State checked all 3 of those boxes, so I made the decision pretty early.
Did that include a visit?
I visited after I committed here. So I ended up deciding to come here before the portal even opened. And then I was still with Iowa at that time. We were still playing. And I think about 4 or 5 days after the Big Ten championship game, I got to come out to Logan. But it was more just to orient myself than it was to make a decision, because I knew I was going to be an Aggie regardless.
So you'd done your homework in advance.
Yeah, and the lucky part too is that being a part of Iowa's program last year, I got to see Utah State firsthand in that first game of the year, and I just remember how the defensive staff at Iowa talked about how hard it was to defend the offense because of the splits we play with, the amount of things we do offensively. It's hard to defend, and that kind of thing is really interesting for me.
Okay, so now you're at Utah State. This is a program that's been in a little upheaval here with Coach Anderson being released, and I assume, watching from afar, that you want to keep this thing as much in control as you want to. In other words, the defensive coordinator is the interim coach. He continues to be the defensive coordinator. I assume Coach Cefalos now got the offense to keep planned.
Yeah, I think that they're still figuring that out. That's probably more of a question for Coach Dreiling than it is for me. But the good news is that our system is staying in place, and we have a lot of coaches on staff that I've worked with Coach Anderson for many years and that know the system inside and out, and it doesn't make it any easier. We all, at least personally, right? Like, I've known Coach Anderson for 6 months, and he's been a tremendous, mentor and a guy that I've grown to love and really trust. But adversity happens, things happen, and we have to move on and push forward, and we still have all the pieces in place to have a successful year.
Well, spring came, and so we have a competitive race for the quarterback spot, and Cooper Legaw and McKay Hillstead eventually leave, and there are other people in the room with you, but you got to know those guys.
Yeah. I was really happy with. It's not easy always for a guy like Cooper or a guy like McKay, who have been here and have played, to welcome me to the room when I got here, and they treated me great, and they're 2 really good guys, and we had a lot of fun competing, and I'm excited to see what both of them do at their new schools, but. And like you said, we have even more additions since then. Bryson Barnes came in when I did. We got Jacob Conover and CJ Tiller from 2 different schools that are both really good dudes and good players. And I think we have a really, really good room and a fun room to be a part of.
You know this offense, the system, but you know the personnel. What's the potential for this side of the ball for the Aggies?
Yeah, we obviously have a lot of explosive playmakers, and I think that the goal this year for our offense is to be just as explosive as we were last year, but to also be more efficient in certain situations. If we can combine what we did, or what they did, I guess, rather, last year with being able to execute better on 3rd down and in the red zone, I think that's a really dangerous offense, and that's really hard to defend. And we were already really hard to defend last year. So the sky is the limit, and I'm just excited to get back to work with these guys.
And the shoulder's not a problem. That's all taken care of?
Yeah. Surgery was a success. Shoulders great. I have no pain when I throw. The doctor and surgeon at Iowa did a great job, and the training staff there and here have helped me along the way. But my shoulder's at 100%.
Just one other thing. How did you guys find out about all that happened? How were you told?
There was a Zoom meeting last Tuesday morning. I was in California, and it was at like 7:30 in the morning, and I was asleep, so I missed it. So I woke up to some phone calls that some big things were happening. But it was a Zoom meeting for the team.
Spencer, it's good to have you at Utah State. This is going to be a great year. We wish you the best.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here, and go Aggies.